Well, greetings and salutations, humans. This is Froggy with Froggy and Friends, and let's kick on down the trail. That's hot. All right. Physically hot, not the weird way. Stop thinking that way, Chris. Okay. All right. Today, we're doing the game Grit. We have Nathan, Courtney, and Jeff via other technology device because I still haven't figured out how to do the video stuff. Apologies, everyone. Especially you, Jeff. I'm so sorry.
We'll figure it out.
We said that last time. Okay. The music's cool, but it's pretty loud. So actually, I'm gonna mute that. Probably get rid of it. We don't need it. Alrighty. I don't need that. Okay. Hello again, everyone. That didn't happen. Forget. I told you to forget. And you didn't. Okay. Now, I told all my players to be on their toes for good reason. The year is 1875. All of you have come to this strange town called Talon's Trail. We'll go individually, person by person. Who would like to start?
I'll start.
All right. You rouse as the train kind of rattles you back, just back awake. You are in the hiding in a car. You paid for it, but you still don't feel comfortable being around the rest of the folks in the. I forgot the name of them.
In the wagon?
You're in a train.
Oh!
You're in a train.
Oh, very cool.
You're in a train.
Okay, in the locomotive. Steam
Yep.
engine.
Yep. The Pinkertons actually paid for your train trip here
Okay.
from the Canada, from part of Canada, and it was a really strange message. Just a telegraph saying, "Meet here on this date, at this time, be punctual," and you were handed a train ticket and just kind of kicked out of the makeshift office there.
Okay.
Well, as you're waking up, you're seeing through around you, you've got a whole bunch of crates and different. You're in the luggage car for some odd reason. You felt a little bit more comfortable compared to being around the rest of the folks.
Sure.
Let's see here. Let's have you roll to see if you remember your dreams.
To see if I remember my dreams. All right.
So what skill would you like to use, an ability?
Let's use intelligence
Intelligence and what?
and willpower.
Well,
Or should I use?
see the thing is you've got an ability, and then underneath it you have skills. So you can actually,
Oh, okay.
so you've got your ability, and then so you can choose intelligence as your main one, but then you can choose a different
Okay.
skill underneath.
All right, intelligence, and then I'll use my lore skill. From
Okay, well that kind of makes sense. Do you want to give me any doom?
I do not.
Okay. All right.
Actually, let's give you one doom. I'm feeling spicy.
Yeah.
I'm feeling brave.
Stars.
All right.
So do I roll a third die? Since I
Yes.
Ooh. Party on.
Party on, Wayne. Party on.
Nice. I needed that. Got an 8.
Do you have one success?
And then I add these two together, so I have.
No, you don't add them together.
Oh, and then just the one success.
So your lore is you have 3 focus in your lore, so it's an 11. You had to roll under an 11.
Yep.
So you got one success. Yeah,
Yeah.
you remember your dream.
Perfect.
And as you're kind of remembering, you're feeling a pressure. The reason you remember it is you feel a pressure in, what-handed are you?
I'm right-handed.
You're feeling a strange pressure in these dots all across your right arm. You look down and you see those reminiscent scars you have. Then you're like, oh my gosh, I dreamt it again. The day you found out your dad was gone.
Pops went missing.
Okay. The odd thing this time is you're not yourself. You're outside of yourself, seeing your dad in the middle of the woods.
Okay.
But this is a way you've seen your dad never before. You see another man fall, and the tomahawk is in the back of his head. Then a knife comes at him in another guy's arm. You see his hand reaching towards the tomahawk, and it wiggles, and it goes straight past him. And he's just guiding it with his eyes and his hands, and it goes right into the guy's left eye. He drops. Another man comes at him, and he blocks what looks like an axe and stops the haft with his arm, breaking his arm, and he once again reaches back for the tomahawk, and it slips through, goes up through, the guy drops. Two other guys start running. He jumps down with his busted arm kind of holding at his side. He pulls the tomahawk out, throws it, then grabs like this, and it circles and whoosh, slices both their throats as they both drop. And then the tomahawk actually just slowly spirals to the ground and slowly hovers. And then you see him grimace, and blood shoots from all these different spots in his arms. And you see all these little rocks kind of roll and start hovering around the tomahawk. Then you see him pull his pistol out, set it next to the tomahawk. And then you see him take, his rifle. It was by the fireside, and he sets it by the pistol. And then he starts walking off. And then you see yourself a day or two later. You don't know, but you see where everything was, where he left it. You're like, that couldn't have been how it happened. But then you remember that you reached down and grabbed the tomahawk. I need you to roll a discipline. So
Okay.
you see that's your will
Yep.
plus your discipline, so that's an 11. You have to roll under 11.
Okay.
You need one success.
I got one success.
Okay. You didn't pass out, but you're bound to this weapon. And that's why you have the reoccurring dream of your dad doing that. So I'll tell you the other qualities of that tomahawk at another time.
Okay.
But if you want to use that special quality, you will be spending resolve
Okay.
at a accelerated rate. You hear the train come to a stop, and you've got that movement in you. You're like, one of the big crates next to you moves, and a carpet bag falls down, and you dodge it. You're kind of sweating. Yes, from the heat, but you're like, oh my gosh, okay. They start opening things up, and you start walking. You start asking for directions, and you start walking down some of the streets, looking for your destination. Let's see here. It's probably about 10:30 in the morning. So it's
Okay.
getting warm.
Yeah.
It's really new to to the Arizona territory, being that you're from the frozen tundra. So you're sweating pretty good. You're carrying your bag. You've got most of your gear just kind of hidden up and wrapped up. You're walking. You've asked for directions. You're heading to the Majestic Hotel, and
Okay.
people all whenever you've asked, they're kind of weirded out. You don't know why. But as you're going up, now you might understand. It is a huge building, 3 stories,
Oh.
but there's a big hole in the roof, and the sign's crooked, but just been repainted. You hear a lot of carpentry on the outside fixing stuff, but not the hole in the roof. You start walking up. Who's next?
I'll go next.
You go next? Okay. Because you make it there around 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Well, you came into town earlier in the morning, riding in on
Andromeda.
Andromeda. Could you describe what everyone sees when they see you?
So I'm riding an Appaloosa, black and white Appaloosa. So, I'm wearing a large hat that's covering most of my face. I have white hair. I'm in very neutral colored, like a long sleeve button up, and just leather chaps with boots. I have 2 pistols and a rifle on my horse. I'm just very focused on what I'm doing.
Okay. Cool.
Description.
Very nice. As you're going in, you're remembering your strange telegraph that you received from the Pinkertons. You've been working for them for a little while. They've been always standoffish to give you work, but they still appreciate your expertise in your specific field. As you're going up, you do see the hotel you're supposed to go to, and you have Andromeda. You go into the hitching posts, and one of them's busted, so you choose not to use that one. So you hitch them up, and right before you're hitching them up, you turn, and what does she see?
She sees me?
Yep.
Okay. What she sees with me is she sees a Tinglet Native American from Alaska. My skin tone reflects my region, so I'm not overly pale, but I'm not overly dark either. My skin reflects a lot of sunlight off of ice and snow and deep water. I'm wearing buckskin clothing on everything except about my right forearm from the elbow down is exposed, where I'm bonded with the weapon. My buckskin goes from my ankles up to my waist in different kinds of pants, and I'm wearing buckskin on my arms and my chest. My sides of my hair and the back of my hair are cut very sharp to the skin, and the top of my hair goes into a knot, which is a sign of honor with my people. On my belt, I have a traditional bone knife, which is very cool. On my back, I have a tomahawk. In my bag, I have a lever-action rifle from my father, and next to that, actually what's on my hip, is my father's Army Colt pistol revolver. And I am naive to the ways of man because I spent most of my time with people, so I'm very open-eyed when I'm walking around, being amazed at the different structures and people, and sweating profusely because I'm new to the desert.
All right. Now, you guys are kind of walking up together. You kind of see each other out of your peripherals. All right. Getting there around the same time. You go through the doors. The exterior of the building was a really rundown color, so it was really difficult to kind of tell what it was. Like, was it a green? Was it a yellow? What was it really supposed to be originally? Inside, you're like, oh, the color's really nice in this beginning entryway. It was actually like a darker green with yellow trim, and you see kind of and both of you really haven't been to a whole bunch of hotels. This was a higher end hotel, but it couldn't have been very recently.
I see.
So there's a little kind of a boxed in area where you guys can enter just to kind of keep the elements out. And there's 2 doors, one to your right, one to your left, and then there's a kind of an opening that you can see that most likely someone is supposed to be there. No one's there. So, do you guys go to the door to the right or the left?
To the right.
Okay.
I just follow her because I'm assuming that as someone who's more familiar with these places, I'm like, I guess she knows where to go.
Okay, all right. You go through the right door and you open up to a really large room. You look up, you can definitely see balconies, and you're like, okay, that's must be where the rooms are. You look to the left, there's a bar, and then there's a bunch of tables. A bunch of them are kind of flipped over. But farther in the back, you see a whole bunch of crates.
Interesting.
Lots of crates just stacked. Some of them are open with straw out of them. Who wants to roll an observation for me?
Mine's a 10.
Yeah, yours is higher than mine.
Alright, I'll roll.
Do you want to give me any doom or anything?
What do you think? Yeah, I'll give you Doom. I'm still feeling spicy. My character's name is Tulok, and he's a little naive, and so he's willing to give a little bit of Doom today. And I just need one success?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I could. Oh well. One success.
Yeah, cool.
I'm barely hanging in there.
With that one success, what do they see sitting at the bar, Jeff?
Sorry, this made me laugh. Sitting at the bar, they see what I would describe as a young man who's probably experienced a little too much of life. He's got some gray hairs, quite a bit in his head. Some like slicked back hair, and a thin mustache, but he's got stubble because he just doesn't clean up his face too much as well. He's wearing chaps, alligator skin boots. He's got a Confederate, what's this called?
That's a duster.
Yeah, the duster. He's got Confederate duster on. On his hip, he's got a riding saber. But, he's got his duster open. He doesn't really care. It's just a shirt, some, like, odds and ends hanging from his neck. He's got a signet ring on. And, just waiting. Take a smoke break.
What a posse.
Yep.
What?
What a group of people we are, Jeff.
Yep.
I know.
Now, behind the bar, this is the first person you've seen in this building, you two. But, Jeff, earlier you did meet a portly gentleman.
Okay.
His name was Winslow, and he did give you a drink. But that was
Bless God.
that was about a half an hour ago, and you haven't seen him since. And he was like, "Oh,
Okay.
you're here early," and he just kind of walked away.
Yeah, I'm always early.
Yep.
Oh,
So,
okay.
So you see them walking in. Do you motion to them or anything, or you just keep working on your drink?
Well, I do take notice of them. I just kind of... I'm expecting company, right?
Well, you look there and you're remembering, I was just sent here by the people I work for. I could be meeting them, but they're really not good at explaining stuff to me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's halfway paying attention.
Yeah. Do you have your feelers out, like your other senses going, or are you just kind of just sitting there?
Always.
Okay, so I need you to roll a. Now this is your choice. It can be observation and sorcery, or it can be will and sorcery.
We got a sorcerer on the team. Okay.
I'm gonna do will and sorcery, almost like kind of like pulsing the room, if that makes sense. Just feeling it out in the spiritual realm.
Yeah, you can give me a doom if you want.
I mean, I'm good.
Okay, I'm just gonna make this easy. A single success.
Oh, okay. And we got one success.
Cool. With that, when you were walking into this building, you felt there's definitely something about this location some of those crates and a lot of stuff upstairs. But when that guy walked in, it was almost like you smelt something in the air. Kind of metallic-y. You're like, that's not blood. What is
That's
that?
weird.
It's definitely like a strange metal.
Hmm.
And then I need you to do, can you roll me a lore?
Yeah.
I'm going to go, that's your memory, all right? Just for...
Okay. Yeah, I got 1 success.
All right. You're remembering the first time you ever smelt that. You're seeing a swirling pool of water as you're crawfishing. You're in your little boat paddling over there, and the rest of your buddies are pulling in the traps. But you got to go the farthest way out, and you see the swirling water. You're like, oh, cool. There might be a catfish or something else caught in it. You're pulling it up, and the trap is totally clean, and that's not crawfish or catfish. You reach your hand in. What do the people see with the camera view?
They see an old but clean-looking ritualized dagger that looks like it would have a skeletal Mother Mary as the hilt.
And it actually is still in the scabbard, and when you pull it loose, there's no water on the blade.
Nice.
And you're smelling that smell that you're smelling now.
Oh, that is very intriguing.
Yep. But it's only from that gentleman. Now, you also are kind of feeling a weird sense from the white-haired lady too. But you just can't put your finger on it. You've never felt this before. So, I'm guessing you're just gonna kind of keep an eye on her.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you guys have been here just kind of in an awkward stance because this room is massive. And then you remember there's a hole in the roof. You look up. It's kind of patched. And then you look down, there's definitely water damage, but there's a bunch of burnt areas like right below it. That's pretty odd.
Yeah.
Because your intelligence is pretty high. You can definitely count. Those are 5 perfect burn marks in different locations.
What?
Interesting.
Yep. And it's pretty much right below that or angular from there. And right about that time that you're kind of making that realization, you hear a really loud chiming from a really loud, obnoxious clock upstairs.
I flinch for sure.
Yep. Yep. And then you hear some scurrying up, and you're gonna remember this, Jeff, because we haven't said anybody's names yet.
Okay.
That's the way the portly gentleman was walking. He kind of dragged his heels a little bit. Now Winslow comes on the balcony. He's like, he's looking at his pocket watch. He's like, yep. All right. He's motioning you guys upstairs. He's like, what's taking you so long? Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I grab my tomahawk and put it in my hand.
Okay. I'm guessing you're kind of keeping an eye on the room, so let's have you roll an observation. If you see the guy that's walking next to you, pull a tomahawk out and kind of hold it at the ready.
Okay.
It's your observation. So awareness.
7.
So do you want to give me a doom or anything?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give you a doom.
Just one?
Just one.
Okay.
Yeah, how many doom have you given?
2.
I have 2 successes.
2. Awesome. So that would actually, that's actually going to produce 1 momentum. You can use that to, in essence, get some extra knowledge from this. You definitely see that. Do you want to spend this to possibly notice something else?
Sure, I'll go ahead and
Okay,
spend it.
because otherwise it would disappear after this. So what you actually notice is that's not a tomahawk you've ever seen. You've seen tomahawks that have come across in your past, and you're like, that is not from a tribe that you've ever seen. And he has scars on his forearm. Kind of looks like maybe buckshot. You've definitely seen that. Now, let's have you roll a lore to see if a memory pops in your head.
Okay. A memory does not pop
Okay.
in my head.
All right. You actually rolled a complication
Oh.
Oh.
for that, but that is totally okay. I'm just gonna take it as this. But you feel like I've definitely seen that before, but I don't want to think about that right now, kind of thing. That feeling. You guys can start heading up the stairs. Do you still have your tomahawk out, walking?
Yeah, and I'm behind them.
Oh, great.
Because I don't know what's going on.
Okay, now Jeff, you have a Native American with a tomahawk in his hand walking behind you in 1875.
That's not alright.
That's a good
Jeff, are you
About
real?
midway up the stairs, I'm just feeling this out. About midway up these stairs, I'm just gonna stop, turn around, and go, look, brother, you can put that away. You don't need that right now.
Who are you? What am I doing here?
I work for the Pinkertons, and you can call me Frederick.
Well, Frederick, why am I here, and who is that strange man?
I mean, he's a portly man. Alright, he gave me some alcohol, very nice, but he is unfortunately gonna make me late, and you are just giving me just not nice vibes. From sorry, they don't say vibes. You are making me uncomfortable with that tomahawk. You just put that away. We're just there to talk. He works for the Pinkertons. I work for the Pinkertons. We'll be okay.
I look up the stairs where the man disappeared from, and I look at Frederick, and I look down at my tomahawk. I look back at Frederick, and I slowly put it back in my belt. But with my looks, I let him know that it's coming back out if something goes wrong.
Okay, so is that an intimidation?
I've never done that before.
No. Are you actually trying to intimidate this gentleman you just met to let him know that?
How would I do that? Which skill is that under?
This would actually be a mental attack, and I get to go through those rules with you.
Oh, sweet. This is a good excuse to learn it.
Well, yes and no.
Oh, no.
I'm just like,
Okay. This is why I like. Well, for those watching, what I did is I took the rule set from Conan, a lot of the rule set from Call of Cthulhu, John Carter, and Fallout, and merged them together. Because I'm crazy. And so right now you're going to be doing Steely Glare. So what you're going to do, you get to do an opposed personality test in essence. So you can use your discipline, Jeff, and you have to use your. You're gonna use your personality,
Okay.
and let's see here. Where's
Command?
persuade?
Okay, persuade.
You're gonna try to persuade with your eyes, in essence.
Okay.
And I know for those of you who know the rules, I've got to go through them again to get. But this is a good way of doing it. So do you want to give me any doom or anything? Because there's no momentum. Okay. Just roll away.
Okay. I just need the one success, right?
You have to beat him.
Oh, I see. And he's only rolling 2 die as well?
Yep.
Yep.
Fingers crossed. 1 success.
Okay.
2 successes.
Oh.
Okay. Now, Frederick, you're looking at him. You're like, you both give the 1,000-yard stare and you've never experienced this before, but he's staring you down.
He got my respect because where I'm from
Okay.
takes a real warrior.
Yeah.
See, and because of where I'm from, I make an assumption that he's of high stature in society.
Well, he's got a lot of shiny stuff on him too.
Yeah, that's true. So I see this man as an equal.
Okay. All right.
I don't trust him. Let me be clear to my audience. I don't trust this guy, but I do see him as someone to hold his own.
All right.
And I walk up next to him on the stairs because neither one of us let the other one behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
What camera likes that.
Alright. This guy.
That's better.
That's really crooked.
Sorry, audience. We're fixing our cameras so you can see us better. Is that comfortable for you sitting there like that?
Okay. All right. Now, as you guys reach the top of the steps, you see that portly gentleman looking at his watch. He knocks on a door. He opens it, and he whispers in that they're here. And you hear a lot of rustling, and let's see here, a sound of metal on wood, a step, metal on wood, and a step.
Interesting.
And then,
Is it like a drag or like a click, I guess?
it's actually like kind of a mix. You definitely would know this one with your military experience. This definitely is a guy who is using a cane.
Ah, gotcha.
And let's see here. Roll me an observation if you can actually pick anything else up.
Military experience.
Check that out real quick.
Of course, it's a experience.
Interesting.
Alright.
Not necessarily.
Well, yeah, maybe not
And one
necessarily.
success.
One success. Well, with your one success, you can you figure out that, but with that click, you're hearing an extra rattle.
I think I know what's going on here.
Okay. Now, you guys go up and you look in this room. It is. You're looking in, and you've got lanterns everywhere. You've got bookshelves that you can definitely tell were just unwrapped, but have a whole bunch of books put on them. There's straw strewn all over the ground. There's crates that are open. Who wants to roll me an observation to see if you see anything specials before I continue to?
I'm trying to find where my observation went. Where is observation? I can roll one. I can roll one if no one else is going to.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I kind of trust these people. I'm okay. I don't need to take note of this.
Well, my character does definitely not trust these guys. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, roll me an observation.
Okay. I got one success.
And what's the other number?
20.
20.
Cool.
Oh, it's a
Thank
critical
you.
That's a complicated.
Just a
complication.
complication.
Oh no.
You actually, I'm gonna use that right now. That complication. You actually are. You had the one success, but it's a complication. You are zoned in on the guy that you're, the portly gentleman. He walked off. You watched him walk off, and you're looking at this guy with your one success. You notice he's a. If he wasn't slightly hunched over, he'd definitely be over 6 foot. Curly red hair that you can definitely tell he's worn a hat a lot, and it's kind of done that thing where
Yeah,
it pushed
yeah.
it, and it's still kind of like a mini fro. He looks a little gangly, and his cane is immaculate, and that's the thing that you're focusing in on. It's like gold tooling at the base, and it cycles up, and the handle itself is like immaculate. His hand, he's got multiple rings on his hands, and you notice his left arm is kind of held up, and he's putting a lot of pressure on that cane, and just kind of holding himself there. He's got bags under his eyes, but he has a grin on his face. But right now you're just focusing in on that cane, because it's crazy looking.
Mm-hmm.
So what everyone else kind of notices, you see all that strewn about. You see a desk with a whole bunch of newspapers stacked up, a lot of things ripped out and put in another stacks. You've got what looks like old tomes. Some of them are wrapped in parchment, still being unwrapped. You see in one of the trunks, actually, Jeff, could you roll me another one of those sorcery to see what you feel?
Yep. Good idea. Yeah, just one success.
One success? Okay, you're getting like, ooh, okay. You see, you get a feeling like there's a crate right behind that desk that's open. There's a picture sticking out of it, and it looks like the picture's kind of looking at you.
The picture's looking at me?
It's a painting,
What?
and you're getting that sense from it, but you're noticing that it's actually it's got ribbon bound up in it, and it's got like a card, and you're like, that's holding that thing back.
Oh, okay. Am I getting eerie vibes like I'm
Yeah.
used to?
Pretty
Oh,
sketch
yeah.
vibes.
You're getting vibes from a lot of the books, and you look to your left. There's a crate, and sticking out of it, you see like an old school musket that has that same ribbon wrapped around it with the tag. You're like, that's something. Then you look in the corner, and it looks like he has stuff mounted on the wall, and of which is an actual, you know, a little bit about history. That's an axe that's a double-barrel musket at the same time,
Oh, wow.
and it's got gold tooling on it and stuff, and it has an ivory handle. And you're like, this room is full of things that you want to play with. Like, that is the kind of feeling you're getting. You're like, and you're getting from the guy. He's got a lot of, I'll put it this way, a lot of dangly bits hanging on him that have a reason that you would understand.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I'm starting to... I like, my hairs are on end, like, my ears are perked up. That totally changes how I'm going to interact with this gentleman.
Yep. And because you had the complication, you didn't get to roll your feeling of it.
Oh, yeah.
So you're just kind of you're just like, this is, and then you're looking around like, this stuff is like, you're just, your eyes are open, and you roll me an observation because you're checking the room because of your old
For
habits.
exit, for a kill point. I still don't know her background. She didn't tell me.
Good.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know Jeff's. For the audience, I'm hearing this with you. I'm pretty
One.
amazed.
You got one success.
Yes.
This, if you could come here at night, just grabbing a handful of stuff, you would be set. There is things made of gold, silver, ivory, metals that you've never seen before. The smell of the room definitely smells kind of like really expensive. Like you, but you're looking at him, and he's definitely wealthy. His vest matches his slacks, and he actually has more than one, it seems, pocket chain. And he actually checks the one and he actually pulls out two pocket watches and he holds them next to each other. Like, you guys are on time, fantastic. Sit. And you actually see not matching chairs, but in front of the desk. And he hobbles his way over there, and he starts to sit down. He's like, oh, wait. Do you guys want whiskey? Do you want coffee? Tea? Are you hungry? Is there anything I can get for you? Winslow! Winslow! Where did you go? And you hear the shuffling. Yes, sir. Oh, you want me to get things for these people? Do you guys order anything?
I want a coffee.
Yes, absolutely. He mentioned coffee. I will definitely take that up.
Okay. You request coffee. He's like, oh, go get the best coffee. And he starts sitting down, and Jeff, your ears are perked up so you can do an observation.
Okay. Nope. Didn't pass any of those.
All right, cool. He sits down, but all of you definitely notice a slight grimace as he's sitting. And he sits down. He's got a big smile on his face. He's like, welcome. Do you guys actually sit down, or?
Yeah, I'll take a seat.
I do not sit, but I'll stand close by.
Okay.
Since he said to sit down, I'll just go. Yeah, I'll take a seat. Yes, monsieur. How may I help you?
And he's like, oh, wait. Do you guys want cigars? And he opens a box. And Jeff, you don't need to roll anything. You know that there is a assortment of things there, of cigars, of all different qualities and sizes that you've seen in your youth, but not for a while.
Oh man, I'm a kid in a candy shop right now.
Yep.
But yes, I pick out, the one that.
Okay, so they're not huge. They're not like stogies. They're well wrapped. So you grab one, you smell it, like, oh, okay, he's been actually it's in essence been in a humidor, so it's been taken care of. And then he offers you, then he slides over, like you've got the clipper there, or you can bite it if you want, whichever you want. But he slides over a gold dragon, and the head opens up as he goes back, and you can pull out matches.
Yes, I do.
As Frederick does this, I'm leaning over his shoulder despite my better nature to see what the heck's going on.
All right.
I'll look back up and I'm good. You ever had one of these before?
I just
You
shake
should
my
if you have not.
I just shake
And
my
you
head.
should if you have.
Jeff's a salesman. I just shake my head and I just keep watching.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love that little gold little match holder. I take that out. I strike the match after cutting that cigar, and I just long draw on it.
Okay.
I say you are blessed, my friend.
Now when you strike that match, you see that the color of the flame was like a greenish blue, and then went normal. And the flame stayed until you whipped it 5 or 6 times. It wanted to stay burning.
Huh.
And that arouses my curiosity as well because it reminds me of different kinds of things I've trained for in my own background.
Yeah. Okay. Winslow does come back with a tray, and y'all have smelled coffee before, but this is not burnt. It's well roasted, and there's actually, he brings out some fresh creamer and stuff that you'd bring out for tea at this time. You can definitely tell Winslow does not enjoy his job. He is like the waiter that you
Don't want
to tip. He is the guy that is doing it just for the money. At least that's the kind of sense you're getting. You're like, man, I don't like him in the room. But then you look at the guy sitting behind the desk, you're like, he might be working this guy ragged. You just keep that feeling going back and forth. But you're offered coffee in and actually teacups, so you can't put your finger in it. And so some of you are feeling a little awkward. You aren't, Jeff, but you definitely are. You're just, I don't think you've ever held a teacup before. So you're literally doing this number, trying to put your finger in it and trying to play it off all at the same time. So let's see here. Let's do society. That would be appropriate. Let's do a society to see if you can actually figure out how to do this. That is a critical success. Cool.
Nice.
Nice.
She nailed
And
it.
honestly, because of your lack of experience, you needed the two. You figure out, I just have to hold it because you glance and you watch the rest of them and you're You're just sipping it just fine. And this actually tastes good. It's good tasting coffee.
I comically hold mine from the bottom without realizing I'm doing it wrong.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. I'm so sorry. My name is Thaddeus Rutherford Walters. And I have actually procured all of your contracts from the Pinkertons. You don't work for them anymore. You work for me.
What?
Yes. Yeah. It was a little expensive, but it's nice having funds. And so I'm guessing you just probably like took a puff and you're like,
Choke up his throat.
yep, because y'all have been working for like some of you for a few months. Now
I'm very new.
now Nathan, you're like, can that work? Because you actually saved some Pinkertons in the north as you were traveling south, and they hired you as a tracker. So you've been kind of as a guide and a tracker up north, and you were really confused why you were sent south anyway. You're like,
Yeah.
but you're still learning stuff that way. You were really confused, like, hey, well, at least I'm getting a job, because most of the time they were just asking you questions. You could definitely feel like a strange standoffness because of your history. Now, Jeff, they had a standoff nature with you as well, but it's handy to have someone with your name on the payroll. So you're very surprised that someone paid that much to not be on their payroll.
Yeah. I'm colorly impressed.
Yep. Okay. But like I said, my name is Thaddeus Rutherford Walters. My family has dabbled in multiple things throughout the centuries. Furs, ivory trade, but and sadly his hand is always kind of in, and he slightly motions with it, but he's very boisterous with his other hand, and he's very excited about things. You can definitely tell he hasn't slept much.
Okay.
And does anyone want to roll an observation to kind of glance at the table, or are you just kind of looking at him?
I want to use my observation to get as much of whatever's going on, because I'm starting to realize I missed it earlier, but now I'm starting to get with the match and everything, like, there's some kind of...
Okay, so it's not going to be an observation. You're going to do your, let's see here, that would be, you can do sorcery.
Okay.
Sorcery, your sorcery skill and your observation together. So you go, not observation, but your awareness. So whichever one more.
Oh, I see.
So let's see, 9 plus what is your focus in sorcery?
My focus in sorcery is 11.
No, your focus is 3.
Oh, 3.
3 plus 9 is what?
12.
12, so you roll under 12.
Okay.
Do you want to give me a doom or anything?
No.
Okay.
Gosh, I hope I don't mess this up. 1 critical, or 1 success, no criticals, because that's a 19.
Okay, yeah, that could have been a critical failure. 1 success. You're like, you were surrounded by feelings that you were trained your whole life to either eradicate or keep in a safe place, but you're surrounded by it.
Okay.
The matchsticks do not have it. You're like, okay, that's something.
Okay.
But you're looking around and you notice that painting that's in that crate, it's straight up staring at you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look, then you notice something very strange. On the bookshelf to your right is a jar of dust. And a fly just kind of comes out of the dust and turns to dust. And then then more flies start going up, and then they just turn to dust. And now you are kind of just staring at that. You've never heard of anything like that. And at the same time, because you're senses up, Jeff. You're noticing that too.
Do Jeff and I notice that we both noticed that?
Roll me an observation.
I'll roll you an observation. Do I need a skill with this too?
It's an observation, so it's actually awareness and
Okay.
observation. So you
Oh,
have to
perfect.
roll under 10.
I got a 10.
Okay, A10.
Yeah,
So you
I'll
notice.
do the same thing. I got a 1 success.
Okay, you both notice each other noticing that at the same time. Now, Jeff, I also want you to roll a lore. Now, you could, yes, you can also do, because this, I believe your lore is pretty good, but your sorcery or lore, whichever one you'd want to.
I'll do sorcery.
Okay, bring it on.
Alright, 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, cool. You're like you can't remember the exact name of it, but what's coming to your mind is like plague or something dust. It's like something, the area where that was collected had something really bad happen. And you're kind of remembering if you maybe threw that on somebody, they might be devoured by flies.
Why does that sound so fun?
Or like then the gears are turning because you had 2 successes. You're just like, wait a second. You heard us. You're remembering a rant. Like if someone put that in like a blowgun and blew it into someone's face and they breathed it in, that would be quite the sight. Because like it's not a good thing, but you got that sinister kind of like that would be crazy cool looking kind of feeling.
Yeah. It's in between. It's like a curious terror or joy.
Yep, and right next to it you see a skull that has pretty long fangs on the top. And it's kind of burnt looking.
Okay.
All right. Well, the reason I've procured your services actually is I've done a lot of studying my entire life, and looking at him, you're having trouble because of how sleepy he looks to distinguish. He's like mid 20s, or he could be like later 30s. You're like, he looks young, but then not at the same time. It's one of those interesting things. I've been studying most of my life, and I've noticed that it's not just science. There is something other than it. So there's certain individuals that I've tried to procure. You're not my only team, mind you. But I do have a team, and so you're my second team, and I must say I'm very excited about your specific gifts and your history and pardon me, Frederick, sir. He starts flipping through some pages, and you see that they're like official military documents.
Oh, man.
And you start remembering why those documents are, because you got debriefed on a very bad day.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Now we kind of go to his memory. Excuse me while I wet my whistle. You remember you're riding, and what were you off ready to do with your with the rest of your troop there?
Basically, we were, it was just normal skirmishes against the, Native American populace, because
Yep.
it's just kind of what happens pretty much everywhere where, the white man gets too invasive or something like that, but...
Yep. So you're riding off. The rest of your battalion was just heading, and it was starting to get dark. You're looking up. You can start to see the stars, and it's beautiful. You see the rolling plains because you're in the Iowa territories. You're like, we really shouldn't have to deal with anything in this area. So you guys are just kind of, you're not getting ready to set up camp just yet, because you're actually wanting to set up after dark because you wanted to get a certain location. But then you look up and you actually see the northern lights or the aurora borealis. Oh, that's just beautiful. You're looking up, but then it
Yeah, I
starts.
remember it. It was breathtaking.
But then it starts coming down. It starts almost like it's a sheet of rain sweeping down, and that beautiful color starts cutting into the grass right next to you guys. And then you hear the rolls of thunder, but that's not thunder. And out of nowhere, bison start running out of that sliver. They start mowing guys down. Horses are whinnying. The guys are like, "What the?" And they're trying to pull their pistols and their rifles, but they're getting down. You're near their back, and you're starting to pull your weapon out, and then you see something. You can't tell if it's 9 to 12 foot tall, all fur, but walking on two legs, and just it's billowing out. It's got to be part man and part bison. It just rears down and gouges your superior officer with its horn in his chest and tosses him. He flies up in the air, had to have been 30-some feet, flipping, and then lands. Thing turns with red eyes. Could you roll me a discipline?
Yes.
This is so cool.
Alright. We're looking at 3 successes.
Okay.
One was critical. That's why it's 3.
Okay, good. Because it was going to be 2 successes. I need to work on telling you guys how many you needed. So with that extra one, you can actually choose, like, did you get your weapon out and start firing at this thing?
I did.
All right.
But still, like, the shock and the terror was there.
Oh, yeah. So you pulled out your pistol. So roll. You start unloading. The thing does, it's getting hit, but it's not getting phased by it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're looking around, you're the last one standing. Like, your horse got taken out. You're standing up. You're kind of busted up, a little beaten up, but roll me a sorcery now.
So 3 successes again.
Okay, you definitely know, because of your abilities, you survived. And because of something you carry on you, it helped keep you safe.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm guessing you're starting to pat that, and then you're also,
Yes, I am.
then you're holding the necklace that you have at the same time.
I'm so
And-
curious.
And the thing is the aurora borealis just disappears, and the sound just stops. The night is silent, and you look to your left, and as you see the large horse next to you breathe its last breath, and you don't hear anything else. And you had to spend that night alone.
Ooh.
And what?
Damn.
And you guys are hearing this right now because he's recounting what he told his superiors. Needless to say, they didn't want you in the cavalry anymore.
No.
But the thing is you said it the same every time, so I know it was true. And also, I don't know if you remember me, but I was on one of your father's boats a long time ago with my father. You can roll me a lore, I guess, just to see if you remember.
Frederick should have called me for this bison. I'd have been all over it. I don't know if I could have helped, but I would have been all over it.
That was his memory.
Okay, I got 2
I know, but-
successes. I don't know how I did that because my lore is actually pretty low.
Okay, so you remember him. You're like, oh, I remember you, because he was always sitting in the corner with all the rest of the rich kids, but he was always reading a bunch of books. and and he would never talk to anybody else. But he did try to talk to you once or twice, but he had trouble articulating what he wanted to say because he was thinking so fast. And you do remember his arm was like that, and he did walk like that as a kid.
Oh, okay.
And if you were, you had 3 successes.
Not for my lore, no.
How many did you have?
Just 2.
2. You'd remember that his dad just seemed to drop him off and didn't seem to, like, all the rest of the dads and moms were like showing off their kids. He was not one of those.
Gotcha.
But you
I
remember,
understand how it is to live like that.
yeah. But his dad was very wealthy. Like the rich kind of thought he was snobbish.
Oh, wow.
Like your dad didn't like him.
What?
Yeah.
What?
He only let him on there because he was a high roller.
Wow. Okay, yeah, respect for that gentleman going up, but also, I cannot believe this is you, that we would meet up again like this.
Well, I'm very happy that I'm finally able to speak to you because I wanted to talk to you then about your friend that you always would sneak off with and just do different things with on the boat.
Yeah, I got you.
And after you guys see that,
Right
you guys both are like, I'm guessing you're smirking about it, and you're probably just like,
special friend.
yeah, but now this is your decision if you want to explain it now or talk to him at a different time.
I mean, yeah, I can kind of talk about it now.
Okay.
Because, like, the story he told me, like, really shocked me, and then, but once I remembered who he was, so it's just kind of like, it's almost like you should have been friends with this person, and then you're, like, meeting them again, and you're like, that's not the feeling I would describe.
Okay. Well, and just remember, he just told these random people in the room the reason you're not in the military anymore. He told your your worst day, so you've got to put that in consideration. But he did just offer you a really good cigar. Are you a little shook up that he told that story again?
I definitely majorly shook up, but having to go in between being shook up and cordial.
Do you want to do like a society roll or something? To see how you kind of react to it, or you can do an observation to see if there's whiskey in the room.
Yeah, I like that. I like that option.
Okay.
If there's more whiskey, then I'll tell the story.
Okay.
Please be whiskey. Please. I hear about a special friend on the boat.
All right, 2 successes. Show me the whiskey.
Okay, you actually behind him, you see a whole bunch of different decanters, and you're like, oh, it's the golden elixir. And then you can ask him for some whiskey, and he'll gladly give you some.
Yeah. So I'll say,
What am I trying to say?
Monsieur Thaddeus, give me one of them bottles behind you, and I'll indulge in some stories.
You want the whole bottle? Okay. And
Yep, the whole bottle.
He actually grabs.
It's gonna be the whole one.
He goes to the back of it and he grabs one that has a wax seal on the top. It looks a little dusty, but he's like, well, there you go. Just because we've known each other. If you break the seal and you smell it, that's straight, real Kentucky honey whiskey. So you can smell that it is smooth and it won't burn. But it smells so good that you're like, if I drank more than 2-3 shots worth, I might not be coherent. But after 2 shots, I will have no fear. It's liquid courage for a reason. 2.5? Okay. Okay, after the...
Oh man, that likes to press the limits.
Okay, I'm still working on actual, like, shots rules, because I'm thinking I'm going to get you guys kind of, like, brainstorming here. I'm wondering, like, after 1 shot, you just have to see if you're inebriated. After 2 shots, I'm wondering if you get some courage. Like, literally, like, courage soak.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I like that.
Because
Just
whiskey, like,
lose some coordination, maybe.
yeah, well, actually, whiskey doesn't make you lose coordination.
Really? You don't get the shakes or nothing?
Well, with a lot, you do. But the thing is after a few, that's the interesting thing about different liquors and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't drink, kids. Yeah, but
good plug.
yeah, it's like it can actually stop your shakes. It's liquid courage for a reason.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Learning is fun.
Just kidding. Don't drink.
So yeah, after I guess am I good to do that and then like story time?
Yeah, you can totally do story time right now.
Oh, okay. Sweet. So I take the drinks and I go, Daddies, when I tell you the things that the LeBeau showed me almost rival what you have here, if not that and more, I tell you it was something that caught my attention at a very young age. Had I known you were, also wanted to indulge in those sort of things, I would have taken you along. But, unfortunately, just being around the voodoo kings and queens of New Orleans gets you in a little rough water with the family. So, suffice to say, I don't know how you are with your family, but, it's just pretty much me. I seen some things, like in that document there with the, whatever that was. I seen the dead get raised, not from Jesus. Bless him. I've seen some other things. But, maybe another time.
All right, well then, we'll get back to you. You keep enjoying your coffee and your drink. Miss Jade.
At this point, for the audience, my hand is slowly... I haven't taken out the belt, but my hand is on the tomahawk.
And then, 1 second. And without even glancing up, he's like, I don't advise doing that, sir. And then yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool, okay.
Yeah, so he's having a hard, he's really, you can tell that he always wants to use his left hand, and you can tell he's never really been able to. So he's flipping through, he's like, Miss Jade, I've been reading the report that you gave the Pinkertons. You gave the last location of the gang, but it was very strange. Well, and also sadly that they're all still alive. I found that out. I know you're not super excited, most likely to hear that, but from what I'm reading here, and then he actually recounts the whole story. And right now, I'd like you to do a discipline.
I have no successes.
Okay, so you've got cold sweats. You're just like, great. And so,
Love that.
Yep. So, you're now the camera view right now would be kind of like zooming in kind of on her right eye, and then it kind of sweeps to the white hair and then fades, to like it would be a desert scape, and you see a stagecoach hightailing it, and you see a bunch of guys coming up behind, and you're hearing gunfire, and the guy riding shotgun turns and unloads both barrels, and 2 guys fall off the horses, and you hear cussing and everything because the guy right by it took a whole brunt of it in his left arm and his face, but he pulls out his pistol and he dispatches him. Then we cut. You're inside of a mine shaft, and you see now one thing that you didn't really like this hideout. It was a newer one. You'd been there for a few months. You've been taken on like the stagecoach was on a pretty good basis. You skipped a whole bunch purposely because you don't want the authorities to come in. But you did not want to go deeper in the mine because you didn't like where the chains led. If you want to roll a lore for me.
I think I want to use the.
I do? Okay.
I have 2 successes. Whoop.
2? Do you have a focus in lore at all? No? Okay, 2 successes. All right. You actually know that's where, sadly, mine dogs, what they do, like, you know that miners, they'd have dogs to guard their mine. Well, if there wasn't anything in the mine, they'd sometimes just leave the dogs chained up to starve to death. And you didn't like that going down there. And you were actually looking back, petting your dog. What's the name of your dog?
Champ.
Champ? Great. Thanks.
You gotta pick a different name.
Thanks a lot.
Pick a different name.
Pick a different name.
Kent.
Kent? Okay. You're petting Kent.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
My dog's name. Kent. Now, you're petting Kent, you're kind of looking down there. Kent is a gray and white, scruffy looking dog. You got him off one of the stagecoaches a year or 2 ago, and he just took a liking to you, and you're petting him. And you got back to the hideout before everybody else. You got the fire lit and everything. And the leader comes busting in. His Brutus. His face is still bleeding, and his eyes are on fire. He is ticked. He runs up to you, grabs you by the back of the head, and says, "It's your fault they're dead." And he points to the gear of their stuff that they just kind of have piled up. And Zeke, and the older guy with the really long beard, is bringing the stuff in. He's like, "Wasn't even all that much in the stagecoach." He's all ticked off. And then Brutus, he's got darker black beard, black hair, messed up, burnt hat. You hated it because he always would, even if it was set on fire or something, he'd always wear that hat, and he smelled bad all the time. Even after washing himself twice, he'd still smell like 2 days on the road. He is. I told you once, I told you 1,000 times, shoot the guy riding shotgun. And then your dog, what was his name again? Kent starts growling and barking at you. It's the dog, isn't it? He tosses you down and kicks you in the gut. I need you to roll a, that would be a resistance to not throw up. Brawn resistance. So you have to roll under 7.
Okay.
You rolled
4.
7 and a
2.
4.
Okay, you do not throw up, and you just cough once, and you just glare at him, but you're still stunned. And he grabs your dog by the scruff and runs outside, and you hear a growling, snipping, and then nothing. You can roll a discipline if you want.
Nope.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Well, you definitely start tearing up. Um, he comes back in, he raises his hand to just straight up backhand you, and you hear a scream from outside. And you're like, both of you are like, Carlos? He grabs the rifle that you had, his buffalo rifle, and he goes to the edge, and you guys are. And you see Zeke grab his lever action, and he pops around in the chamber, and both of them are looking out. They're like, did someone catch up to us or something? And you hear echoing in the cave behind you. You hear growling. Not one growl, but a lot of growling. And then outside the cave, you hear sniffing and growling. And then you see shadows. And Zeke just gets pulled out. A shadow grabbed him and pulled him out. And you hear screaming. And you've heard wild dogs before, but you've never heard over 10. And you hear him screaming, and Brutus is like, what the? And he starts blasting, and he gets pulled, and his rifle drops, and you see him pull both of his revolvers, and he starts popping, and he starts screaming as he's pulled out. And as you're hearing that screaming, the flame actually is getting darker and darker and darker, and what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna pick up that buffalo rifle.
Okay. Okay. You got the buffalo rifle, now what?
I'm gonna start slowly backing into a corner
Okay.
so I can see what's
Okay.
going on.
Now you hear the horses whinnying and nothing. You have a sleepless night, needless to say. But when you get up in the morning, you go out, you actually see like finger marks of Brutus and Zeke being dragged. You see blood strewn around, but no bodies. You see both the pistols of Brutus, which are the ones you carry now, along with the buffalo rifle. Zeke's lever action rifle is busted in half and like bent. Carlos's stuff is nowhere to be seen, and you actually just see where his boots were, and a whole bunch of paw prints are everywhere. And you see your dog laying curled up, and a big circle of paw prints just encircling it.
Interesting.
And the following night is when you notice that your hair was turning white.
Whoa!
Oh,
This is so cool.
so he recounts this story, and so that's why Miss Jade, you're actually here, because you've experienced something out of the norm, actually. And like I've seen different things as well, Mr. Frederick, but mine is mainly from study and procuring. As you see, a lot of these items I had to go via auction or sending people in my stead to get it, to make sure that they didn't go to the wrong place, to be used by the wrong person. So we're going to be much like the Pinkertons, but not everything is just science, because we've all experienced different things. Do you see? And I think that's a good place to take a break for a little bit.
Sure.
You alright, Jeff, for taking a 15-minute break?
You're good.
Okay, I'm going to actually set a timer, because science.
Science.
This is so cool.
Starting the timer. Now, everybody watching, it will be 15 minutes. We will be back.
See you soon. We're back. And we're thrilled.
All right, everybody. Hopefully your break was as productive as ours. Restrooms are beneficial. Use them. And wash your hands. You gross garbage person that's washing right now. I know. I can see you. I can smell you through.
It smells pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay. So, after he starts talking about that, he talks about Jade's experience, and he flips the page, and he's like, and I see notes in the Pinkertons that they were using you mainly as a sharpshooter, but just to keep an eye on people because for obvious reasons you're past. But recently, the reason they weren't super excited was, number one, your story about shadow canines taking on your gang, but members of your gang have been seen recently, which doesn't line up with your story, which I'm very interested in as well. But I did send members of my other group to go look at your location, and where you said your dog fell, there's actually plants that aren't supposed to be in the area, which is very strange. I apologize. I'm gonna have to look at my notes, and we can talk about this at another time. I'll definitely talk to you at another time about that specific thing. But that's kind of the reason why the Pinkertons had kind of kept you at a distance. I don't have an issue with that because I did study up, and your story does line up because there have been other attacks and disappearances in that area that don't line up with necessarily robberies. But now that people have seen Brutus and Zeke and Carlos and the two other members that you said fell, now I'm concerned. But we'll go back to that. Now, Mr. Gentleman who keeps wanting to do something with his weapon. I don't advise it. I hired you. You understand that correctly?
My character is confused because Tulak is confused, and he says, I agreed to help the Pinkertons temporarily, and I want to know why I'm here.
Well, you did state that you were looking for your father, and there have been different sightings.
My character immediately goes completely stiff. His eyes flick to the different exits in the room, and then they center back.
Discipline.
Discipline. Okay. Mine is a 10 with a 2 focus.
You've got to roll under it.
Okay. Nope.
All right, you got the cold sweats.
Okay. Nervous.
You've got the excitement of the possibility because
I want to see him.
Your dad left when you were 18. It's been 5 years.
Yep.
No, it's been 6. 6. It's been 6 years. You haven't seen him. You haven't heard anything until today.
Yeah. This is what I've been looking for. This is why I started tracking Sal.
Yep. So that may change your.
Yeah.
Change everything.
Now I don't want to do anything to jeopardize this conversation.
And so he starts flipping through. He opens it up, and things change from normal parchment to like written chunks on the sides of newspapers, and an actual rabbit skin someone wrote on the back with charcoal, and you can definitely tell that someone took like a lacquer or something and put it on there to keep it safe. This is where documents get a little iffy, but it's taken some time. But I've studied up the sightings of your father have been very sporadic and in totally different locations throughout the Union, beginning in the California territory a few years ago, but then near Florida, and then back to California. So it doesn't make much sense, but knowing his history, that doesn't surprise me much. But more recently, the sightings of him haven't been as violent as original. do you know anything of your father's past at all, or?
I'll just shake my head slightly.
Okay.
And then I say, he came into the village before I was born and fell in with one of our matriarchs, and on the day of my 18th birthday, he vanished, and all I found were his weapons in a circle of bodies.
Okay. Well, then he turns it and he opens another military documents. Prior, let's see here, because of this. So this was prior to the Civil War. He was actually sent. He wasn't supposed to be in the Canada Territory, but during a snowstorm, kind of got
Pushed up. Yeah.
But his whole group was slaughtered, and the only documentation is like he was supposed to be dead. And prior to that, another slaughter happened at one of just a random site at a bar, and no one saw what happened, but they did see him walking away from it. And he keeps flipping through, and he keeps recounting all these different things of possible sightings of him, like 5-10 years, and it's just a stack of carnage. And he's like, so I'm very interested to hopefully meet him one day, because the most recent so I apologize. Not the most recent, but one of the ones prior to you being around. The way the attacks occurred were not regular, because he used his pistol, but then also people saw a shadow moving in the room and people would fall. And I'm very interested to just find out about it. But I have a lot of different cases that could be just normal cases. But I want the possibility of eyes being open to be able to see what it possibly truly could be, and to actually combat it.
My arm comes off my tomahawk because I don't want him to know what it is, and I cross my arms like this.
Okay. All right. Roll a society. See if you can play that
9.
off.
Okay.
Do you want Doom?
No. Well, I am still feeling a little spicy. What do you think?
Hey,
We've given him a lot already.
it's okay.
What do you think, Jeff? Should I give him more Doom?
Oh yeah.
You really think so? Alright, we'll give him one more.
I'm all for the Doom pool.
Okay. This better be worth it.
Is that a... just so you know, he
One
rolled...
success and 2 complicated.
Yeah, he rolled 2 natural 20s, which is
No way.
2 complications, and he rolled a success.
This is the
More
worst.
Doom. More Doom.
Okay, I get to make the decision to take 2 Doom per complication, or make something of this. What were you trying to do again? Just remind me.
I was just gonna cross my arms so he wouldn't notice my tomahawk as much.
Okay, well, he doesn't notice the tomahawk, but you kind of step back and you elbow something on the shelf.
Seems like me.
That was one complication. The second one, it falls off the shelf.
Oh no. Please don't be the flies.
No, it's
Your
not.
heart.
It's not the flies.
Oh no.
Ah.
No, it's,
Is it the painting?
no, the painting is
It's in a
behind.
box.
Yeah.
Oh.
You didn't notice it when you were first in the room,
Oh,
but
no.
a little wooden box, it just and lands, and he automatically goes. Frederick, could you pick that up for me?
Oh no.
You can step back 2 paces.
Oh.
I can definitely pick it up.
Okay, you take your cigar, put it in your mouth, you lightly reach down for it. You're getting a crazy feeling from this thing. You grab it and you lift it up. It's just a wooden box, wrapped in chain.
Yeah, I'm not opening that up. No.
Okay.
No.
You can put it on his desk.
Oh, he wants it on his desk? Alright.
Yep. And he goes like this, and he slides it towards himself. Then he goes to a piece of paper and he makes a note.
Oh no.
Who wants to roll an observation to see if you can actually see what he's writing?
Take that.
Okay. Do you want to give me doom or anything, or?
No.
No. Just give my notes.
I'm just not good.
Just one success.
Yeah, well, he's not trying to hide it. Clumsy. Don't trust with fragile things. So,
I'm gonna cover my mouth and just chuckle a little bit.
okay. So you actually see on his paper all you guys' names, and then you also see multiple other names below, and multiple notes with those other people. But with your single success, you were kind of focusing on what he was writing. You didn't necessarily see those other names.
I didn't see if you wrote something mean and nasty next to mine.
With that one success, it wasn't mean or nasty at all.
Yay.
Okay. Do you guys? Okay. So you're.
A little embarrassed.
Oh yeah, you're definitely embarrassed. You.
You're standing like in the very back of the room now.
Yep. Okay. When you hear knock at the door again, and Winslow opens the door. Sir, do you wish me to bring lunch, or are we going to go downstairs? Oh, we'll go downstairs. Let's continue our conversation. And as he stands up, roll me an observation, somebody.
I don't know what my observation is.
It's under awareness.
Yeah. 10. My observation's
7.
a 10. What is yours, Jeff?
7.
I'll try. Oh gosh.
I know, I was impressed that I got one success.
Yeah.
I was impressed that I got 2 complications.
2 natural complications.
I got 1 success.
Okay, one success. You actually hear, as he's standing up, like a pop and a grind from his hip and leg.
Okay.
You're
Oh,
like,
goodness.
and does not sound comfortable. And you can see the grimace as he stands up, and then he's like, oh, come on. I tried my best to make sure that meal today would be fantastic. And he's really not very good at walking past people. He's like bumping into you guys, but also at the same time trying to like beckon you to, like, he's excited, and it takes him forever to walk.
Okay.
And he's going down the steps real slow, and he's just and he starts to describe how he got the hotel. And now, are you guys really focused in on what he's saying, or are you kind of looking around the room just because it'll matter on how I explain things?
What if I'm trying to help him walk down the stairs?
Oh, you actually trying to help him? Okay, well,
My character just follows behind and just kind of...
Okay, let's see here. That could be. What would that be? Because you'd be using your agility. Why don't you be using your brawn? What would you want to use?
Wouldn't that be more like coordination?
Yeah,
Since I'm
coordination,
helping him?
coordination, and so your coordination skill plus what maybe society.
Yeah,
Sure.
I would say that. So do I add those together?
Yep. So that would be
Okay.
13 total. You have to roll under.
Okay. 1 success.
Fantastic. You do help him down, and he actually thanks you. And he does blush when you touch him, which is you can definitely really see. He's a redhead. You definitely
Yeah,
see
you
that
can
he
tell
blushes. He's like he's not good at hiding it. And he's like, but he starts describing that this hotel was doing great because this was a boom town. But he made sure that the train would come this way to make sure after he found out about this hotel. If you see, and he points to the hole in the ceiling, a man got struck 5 times in one night by lightning. Astounding! And he's super excited about it, and then he starts talking about each story. And all of them don't line up. But the one thing is, a guy did get hit 5 times by lightning.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the thing is, it doesn't leave a but there are the marks on the floor, but they don't, like,
They're not in the same place.
they're not in the same place. And, you kind of trace out, both of you could roll me a sorcery, or you
Okay.
can do a lore if you'd like to.
Okay. Do I combine it with a skill or just the lore?
Well, lore target number. Do you see the...
11?
Yep.
With a focus of 3, is that relevant?
Yes, if you roll under 3, it'd be 2 successes.
Oh, cool. Well, I got a 5.
Okay, cool. So you have 1 success.
Yep.
How about you, Jeff?
One success.
1 success? Okay, both of you are like... That definitely is random locations. It's not drawing something. Like, that's kind of what you'd initially be thinking, like making sure that it wasn't something outside the realm trying to come in or something like that. But as he's talking, the story of the gentleman was always the same. He was cussing up a storm, and he was waving his gun in the air. And he's like, I actually have his weapon, and that's what kept getting hit. And he's like, oh, 1 second, let's go back up. And he makes it real awkward because you were like 3/4 of the way down, and now you have to go all the way back up. And so he's like, okay, I'm so sorry. And then he starts rummaging through things, and he picks out this glass cylinder that has like these strange black ends on it, and it looks like a musket, all black and burnt up.
Am I feeling anything with this?
I reach out my hand to see if he'll let me take it.
Oh, and he's like, yeah, and he just kind of looks up for a second, and he hands it to you.
Alright, I'll inspect that thing.
All right.
And then I'm going to inspect it right next to him.
Okay. Well, roll what you want to roll. What do you want to roll?
My insight's a 12. Could use awareness, skill, and insight.
I would want to roll sorcery.
Okay.
Oh, well. Yeah, my sorcerer's
See
a
if there's
1.
anything magic about it.
Okay. Do you want to give any doom or anything? Okay.
I can roll sorcery as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's actually you kind of feeling
Yeah.
what you've been trained.
I have 3 successes.
Okay.
1 success. 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, with your 2 successes, you're like, this is definitely touched by something,
Okay.
but you needed 3 to kind of know,
Oh. Okay.
because it's not a normal. With your 3 successes, you and you're actually off put. That's why you don't kind of figure it out. As he's holding it, his eyes go white,
Whoa.
and you're actually. Then then totally fine. You're like, this is a very old musket. It's from
Colonial Wars.
possibly a pirate in the 1600s, 1700s, possibly had used it. And you're turning it, Mr. Frederick, and you're seeing like intricate scrolling that's metal in it, and it looks kind of like a squid going up. And that's kind of what stands out to you a little bit. Then you hand it back, and he puts it back. You don't necessarily know like its necessary origin or whatever, but you have the sense that it either can rip a rift to bring something here, or send something away.
What? Oh man. Oh, that's just fun.
Yeah. And like so, it is very off-putting that he's so kind of open about a lot of things, but also at the same time you're like, this is awesome that he's open, but
Yeah.
also it's a very strange. So then you start going back down the steps.
Especially for me, because my people always talk about this in a very ritualized way.
Yeah.
So, The fact that it's just like, here's an ancient musket with the power to summon whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You can hold it.
And
Yeah.
you're just vibing like,
And now, as you leave the room the second time, you hear a lot of clanking and stuff at a room farther down. You go, oh, that's I should have introduced him to you. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. He might come to dinner later. So, you start heading down, and he starts talking about how after the incident, the hotel started having, like, a lot of people thought it was cursed. Stuff like that, and then also he starts talking about a lot more personal. So this is where, you know, that weird feeling inside. You're like, oh yeah, I'm knowing a little bit too much about him, but also,
yeah.
He starts talking about how his dad and his mom weren't super excited about him, but his brothers are well off and stuff. But he still has part of his fortune. They gave it to him, so he decided to invest in some things. And they took off way better than his brothers. But that didn't necessarily look the best because of the way he was. So he uses surnames and different things to kind of, those are like his shadow businesses. He's like, they're just continuing to do well. I've decided to own a railroad. So that's why I make sure that it comes through here. But my main focus is going to be this. And I'm thinking of actually kind of calling I like the name of the hotel. So I think Majestic is a fantastic name for this organization. I'm just really excited. So you guys go down, and you can see that some of those tables that were flipped over are back up, and there's like a tablecloth on it. And you... Frederick, you actually smell like some brininess, like almost like salt water.
Alright.
And as you guys are seated, you did you bring the bottle with you, or did you leave it up there?
Brought it with me.
Okay, well they Winslow brings a intricate glass for you to drink that out of. You're brought whatever you'd like to drink, most likely coffee or whatever. You're kind of feeling uncomfortable because
Yep.
they're letting you sit at the table with you.
And break bread, and we're not friends or family
Yep.
or nothing. Yep.
Yep.
I don't even know if my character would eat. He might just sit there and kind of be like, I don't know.
You can roll for it and see. It could be a society.
Okay.
I think it's well. What would you think it would be?
Yeah, I think it would probably be a society.
Okay.
I don't know what else it could be. One success.
Okay. You know that they're not trying. They're just trying to eat and just talk. So you
I
understand.
kind of chop it up to different customs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's up to you for if you'd eat.
I'd start slow, but then probably eat more and more.
Okay, so actually, he tried his best to hire someone like he has traditional food that you haven't eaten in years,
Very cool.
and he has food that you've never seen. You're seeing like now, Frederick, you're seeing oysters. You haven't seen oysters in a while, and a big tray of them comes out, and caviar and stuff like that. Yep. And then Thaddeus, a big stein comes out with a top, and he flips open the top, and it just keeps frothing out of, and y'all can smell it's definitely a beer, but it's like spiced, like a spiced beer, and he just downs it. He doesn't even take a breath.
What a man.
And he downs it. He's like, oh, and it's just froth all up in his nose and everything. And he doesn't seem to. Oh, and he pulls his necktie, and he starts wiping with his necktie. He's like, oh, then he just starts eating, and he's just talking to you guys like you're.
This is a regular Tuesday.
Yeah, this is just like a regular day, and he's just like,
Interesting.
and as he's still just talking about his businesses and what you if you're paying attention, because it's your decision if your character would actually feel comfortable and remember, or you're just like what is this stuff, or and things like that.
Okay.
He owns roughly 12 large companies. One being a railroad that you've never really heard of, and then a shipping company.
Okay.
One of those is partially a postal service,
Okay.
and then then this business is his main focus. But he's trying to do kind of what the Pinkertons do, but allow for leeway for if things are not normal. And he wants to be able to handle it because there are some situations that the Pinkertons weren't able to handle, and he heard about it, and it was just a slaughter. Like nothing went good.
See.
Let's see here.
Very cool.
And of course he owns warehouses and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and he's like, he just talks kind of offhandedly, like he doesn't care about them. He's like, they're a means to an end kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, and he's like bread just like falling out of he's still
Yeah. Talking and eating at the same time.
for someone of his lineage and training and stuff, he shouldn't be eating like this, but he just doesn't care. He's like, he just keeps using his thing. It looks disgusting. That his first off, he wipes beer froth, and then it's got mixed with bread and like little
Whatever
chunks
else.
of caviar and stuff. It's like, so like I said before, we're going to be we have some cases that have the possibility of us being able to handle them, but I'm gonna, unlike your past employer, I'm gonna try to let you have a decision, because if you might have certain of your gifts might actually give you a leading towards something specific, which is very intriguing to me, and then behind him a lady starts walking in. She's bringing another tray of like croissants, and you're really intrigued by those because you're like, why did they do that to the bread?
Yeah. I don't look like that.
Yep.
Croissant.
Yep. And you're like, oh yes, Frederick, and you and they're actually sweet croissants, so like they're done right. She sets down the tray, and then she whips really quick and grabs your shoulder, Frederick, and you guys see her eyes go white, and she starts speaking in a language that most of them don't understand. What languages do you speak, Frederick?
French and English.
French? Well, it's a form of French,
Like a Creole
Like
French?
Creole?
so you'd know that one.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And she says, oh gosh, okay, how can I... Remember, you guys don't understand it. So this... Alright. Is everything okay?
Cover your ears.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cover
No,
my ears.
you don't have to. She sees you here, and she's happy you're here.
Oof.
All right.
And then she just turns like nothing happened, and Thaddeus is like, "All right then."
Uh-huh.
But then she turns and comes back and looks at you and then smiles, but then starts crying and doesn't even look at you.
Nice.
What?
Yep. And then she turns away, and then she comes back, and then she like grabs your hand and like squeezes it lightly, and she's like, "It's going to be okay," and then walks away. And then yeah.
Scooch your chair away.
Yeah. And
I'm so
and-
confused.
and Thaddeus is like, I try to have all of my staff have gifts.
Interesting.
Well, as many as I can. Winslow is not gifted in any way, shape, or form. And Winslow's right behind him. Just
Poor Winslow. Vote for Winslow.
Oh, Winslow. I'll go. don't fret, Winslow. There's still time. You could just be a late bloomer.
Super
You
late.
could develop a gift.
Do you need anything else, sir? Oh, I forgot you were there.
Fix it.
Actually, yeah, could you, just, No, you can take the rest of the meal off. Slow. And it just... And he just walks off. That is not the first time I've done that.
Oh, poor Winslow.
But my family hired him, and he's been with me for a long time, and we don't like each other.
So interesting.
All right, so do you... Is everything to your liking? Now,
Absolutely.
okay, you're seeing people slurp oysters for like the first time?
Yeah, that'd be kind of gross to
Yeah.
me. I wouldn't be eating the oysters.
Yeah.
Probably be eating a lot of the bread.
Yeah, lots of the bread. So...
Chow down on venison.
Yep. And dried meats and stuff like that. Like, other things have been offered to you, but you probably go for what you're used
What
to.
I miss. Yeah.
Mm.
Takes a long time to get all the way from Alaska and Canada down to the States.
Yes, it does. And so after the table's been cleared, and he was just... And actually, Winslow does come back, and he hands him a different, like necktie. And so Winslow helps him tie it.
Aww.
So,
Winslow.
okay. Yeah. And
Winslow dies, I'm gonna quit.
just
Kidding.
And he kind of, he scuffles off, dragging his heels again. So the possibilities of what we have are very broad, because because of where I can send you, because luckily I have the train. I'm going to try to keep you within a localized area compared to my other team. I guess I could. Then he starts thinking. Let's see here. Should he? All right. Yeah, he kind of he trails off, and he actually starts doing a lot, like, it looks like he's doing calculations. And he's like, I guess I probably should tell you about my other group. I have an individual who is, his lineage is very Nordic, and he's a very brash individual, but very entertaining in a fight. I actually found him as a bare knuckle boxer. He's a lot of fun. Not to talk to, or to be around, but to watch from a distance. And he just, like he's remembering something. And then I have another individual who is a fantastic sharpshooter. He's a what tribe was that? Winslow. When? He grabs something, he throws it back. Winslow! And so you hear like a metal clanking, and you hear the shuffling, picks it up. Yes, sir. What tribe is that sharpshooter? He's an Apache. Anything else, sir? Not yet. Thank you, sir. And he goes off. So now those two. He's like keep calculating out, because like he's. And then I have a few individuals who are ex-military. I have one man who is who decided not to be a monk anymore, which is just intriguing. So I had to hire him.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then there's a very interesting. I guess we'd be considered either like a scholar or a librarian from the East Coast. He had an amazing memory. And then we have Then the let's see here. No, he didn't make it on the boat. There are other members, but I'm trying to remember them. Excuse me. Winslow! I hate him.
We definitely have a little moment where we smirk about that.
So, you find out there's, in essence, a Norseman.
Okay.
You've got a sharpshooter, an ex-monk, ex-military guys, a scholarly gentleman. And so that seems to be his other team. And as he's describing him, you can definitely tell that he's super excited about them, but kind of freaked out by certain members.
Okay.
Mainly the Norsemen. And then he starts talking about how he met him. So camera view would be starting with like a whole bunch of horses going by, and the dust is getting kicked up in your face, and you go and you're hearing a lot of cheering and chanting and and you see Thaddeus with a big top hat going over and seeing, and you see Winslow walking behind him, really not comfortable.
Yeah, I bet.
And Winslow has his hand in his breast pocket. Are you sure we want to be here, sir? Yes. This is where I was told to see. And then he just cuts short, and from seeing his face, you swoop over and you see has to be close to 7 foot tall man with a long beard braided with all different beads in it, pummeling one man as 2 other guys are trying to knock him down. He grabs one guy in the throat upside down with his hand, throws him into the other guy, and then grabs another guy by the throat and starts laughing, blood running down his face. Yes, that's the one.
Nice.
And so the guy is shirtless, covered in scars and tattoos. His right arm has, well, you guys aren't there. You just know that they're Nordic rune tattoos. Then he starts to describe him hiring him at the tavern, because he's downing beer after beer because he won a keg of beer for his fight. That's all he wanted. This big burly guy. You find out that he was a lumberjack, and he grew up there, but and he's in a long line of Nordic, but he's got a very large. He was carrying an axe that was not one for falling trees. And you find out that he had taken care of a situation in Wisconsin with a very strange man that was covered in hair. So the story was very confusing, all the different papers, and Thaddeus he pulled out papers and tried to, it was like, I'm trying to piece the story together, so how did it go? And he just sitting back, drinking, and then he keeps making the bartender keep filling it. And the bartender is like, looking like he's worn out. He's just like, gosh. Because all the rest of the people are unhappy, but he's like, he won that, so that's supposed to be what he's supposed to be doing. What seemed to occur is there was an individual, he was a foreigner that seemed to have lycanthropy, and this individual stopped him from messing with the town in a very violent manner.
Cool.
After the individual had been shot and they couldn't stop him. So that's why he was hired. Then he starts talking about the sharpshooter, and he was actually a medicine man originally, and then Thaddeus gets really excited because he's like, he has certain ways of doing things with his rounds. he hasn't shared with me yet, but I'm hoping that he will. He's made his cartridges and the bullets themselves different so they can actually do things to strange entities. Winslow! Buffoon. Okay. And so then he keeps messing around and he brings out an actual, it's like a 45 long Colt.
Okay.
And the cartridge has, it looks like it was cast special, so it has like a spiral of silver in it.
Okay.
And the cartridge itself, not the cartridge, but the bullet itself does not look like it's lead. It looks like it's silver, gold, and something else. And Jeff, if you could roll a sorcery for me, and you as well.
Okay.
Well, that is
Application
fun.
and a success.
Oh, critical failure. Awesome.
What's the rule about focusers?
If it's under your focus, it's a double success.
Okay. So I got a double success and a complication.
Okay, so you have a complication as well.
And a success.
Okay, so with your now Jeff, with your double success, I'm just gonna put these here so I remember those, just for the moment. You recognize some of those symbols. You both recognize some of these symbols as definitely like old school native medicine symbols.
Yep.
But Jeff, because of your training and knowledge, you're starting to piece things together of how this could happen, of how you could maybe do this.
Gotcha.
Just the beginning stages.
Okay.
You have no clue how to cast a bullet, so there's no way. But you recognize that symbol, like, oh yeah, that would be like kind of a, like the beginnings of like a banishment, or like a protection thing.
Yeah.
So that's what you see. I'll just take them.
No.
I like having a nice Doom pool. And then he starts talking about the librarian and scribe, and he actually talks about how he had purposely bought at different auctions and stuff, so that's how his collection of tomes has grown. So this member of his team actually still goes around trying to get books and scrolls and things. And actually, if you are looking for something, there's a possibility I can procure it. You especially, Frederick, if there's something that you if you maybe need to study, I could possibly help, because knowing the little bit that I know of those arts, you need to study to keep yourself safe. And Winslow! Okay. Sorry. And possibly different things. Oh yes. And he actually reaches in his back pocket and he unfolds something. He's like, "There's the. I know that there's some notes by some of the men that you were with in Canada that you did have some of that the Thunderbird glass with you. I know you were trying to work with something on it, and I'd be amazed to be able to see. Not right now, but at some point, if I could possibly see it, that'd be astounding. Because the notes on it, how red it was just you start. You're like, why did he have to have that piece of paper in his? To remember. So that's sacred.
Yeah, I don't just show it to anybody.
Yeah.
But then I'm also like, maybe I could trade him for information on my dad, so I could show it to him, but never let him touch it.
Yeah. So, and then with your past members, the things that they've been doing is not regular robbery. Some of them. Brutus was actually cited doing grave robbery, but of course just taking rings and things, but other things were missing, which is odd. So that's actually one of the things if you wanted to pursue that. And the way that I'm going to do this is it's more of if someone wants to pursue one direction, we can just do that because we can always go back to another one unless my other group takes care of it. And the group isn't necessarily together, but they've seen Brutus and Zeke together. The Carlos was not, but that would bring you back to which Winslow. And he starts shuffling through, and you can see that he was eating. Yes, sir. Where was Brutus last seen? That was in this territory, sir. And he just turns around and he just walks out.
That's where we're at, sir.
Oh yes, I will not thank him. Okay, so that's one possibility. And then there's some strange disappearances. Actually, where you're from, Frederick. They're closer to the bayou. They've some people have been attributing it to just large animal attacks, but I think there might be something else. And then let's see. Those are the main. Well, those are the main two that I have at the moment. So would either of those any quote like tickle your fancy, as it were? Like he's really trying to be a lot more social. Would that be a lot more of what you'd want to do, or is there a different direction?
I would ask him, I don't know if I have to roll for this.
Yep.
I would ask him which one gets me closer to my father.
Well, all of them. You working for me, I'm still having my feelers out. The interesting thing about his strange, sporadic popping ups, because the newer ones have not been as violent, so it's difficult. They only see him and in his just the way he is, and then he starts to describe a gentleman that has a beard, scars on his face, peppered arms, like a peppered arm, like with buckshot, but now his left arm has definitely been healed from a bad break, and he's got his right eye is totally white from that scar. So that's what's been standing out, so people can actually tell who it is. So that and I'll keep you informed, and once we know something, we can, because I want to meet him, because there's some strange things that in a lot of those files. So.
Okay.
And my other friend, I don't know if he's going to be coming down. He's working on something, as usual. He likes to tinker. So you guys don't have to decide now, but I think this could be possibly a good stopping point. You guys can talk in our group.
My character, Tulok, my unnamed character, sorry, is definitely.
You've said it. We know it. He's said it out loud.
Oh, okay. I am Tulok. No, I'm just kidding. He'd probably go down to find out whatever creature's causing mayhem, because he's a witch hunter.
Okay.
That's probably the reason why. But if her people came back from the dead with gold rings, my character would go either way, honestly. Honestly, my character's just vibing. He wants to just go find out what this is and kill it.
Okay.
Dealing with the dead, I've done that.
Yep.
What going back home, no, that doesn't sound good.
So,
For more reasons than one.
Yep.
But it sounds good for one reason, and it doesn't sound good for multiple.
Yep, because for one reason, if you went south, you could possibly learn more. But then if you go south, you have to go south.
Yeah.
Well, let's go get these rings then that have been grave robbed. Let's figure out Jade's past here.
Okay.
Is that agreeable to Jeff and Courtney?
Oh yeah.
You'll have to speak in fancy.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
That works. I'm not ecstatic about it, but.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, so okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll start getting the files ready for you, and I guess we'll kind of. I don't believe you have a horse, so I guess Winslow. Yes, sir. Our friend here needs a horse. And Thaddeus. I will spell it out for you. I want you to get him a horse that he can ride. So he'll need something to sit on, right?
Winslow?
Yes, sir.
Come on, Winslow.
Animal handling's a 9. That's pretty good.
This is awesome. So Winslow turns around and then it seems he goes and takes care of that. So, just so you know, you will have a horse for next game.
Cool.
It is not a good horse. It's actually, wait, no, it's a mule.
Nice. Do I have to wear a saddle?
He had something to sit on, so all it was a blanket.
Perfect.
'Cause, like,
'Cause my
honestly-
character's not gonna want a salad.
Well,
Or salad.
Yeah.
Saddle.
So just you're getting the vibes from Winslow. If he can take it out on anybody, his disdain for Thaddeus, he's going to, even if it's pointed at you guys.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
yeah. So
Nice.
just make a note somewhere. You have a mule
Okay.
named
With a blankie.
yeah, a mule named Burrow.
Burrow. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Do I get any of the
Yeah.
other?
I'll tell you.
Oh,
I'll
just
tell you the
right.
stats if you need.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so what you guys are, what's getting described to you is the different locations and actually the details of each strange occurrence that happened, mainly with Brutus and Zeke. Let's see here. So, one of them, there was a guy walking home from the saloon, and he saw what he saw, like two guys digging up a body. He's like, that ain't right. But he was very drunk, and he actually woke up by the cemetery because that's all he remembered. He most likely just passed out on his walk. He
Okay.
came to, and they opened the casket, and both, like, the hands were missing.
Interesting.
And originally he was blamed for it because they found him by it, but luckily with some of Thaddeus' help, they found, because he had a story, and there have been other people that saw strange things happening in the area. Then there's another one where it was actually about 20 miles to the south, and there's another one in the bottom jaw of somebody was taken.
Interesting.
But when Thaddeus went and actually, this is where things got you're feeling very uncomfortable, and you
Yeah.
are too, because Thaddeus paid for the bodies to be redug up.
Ooh.
Now, Frederick, you hear that and you're probably getting a little. You're just thinking like, okay. So, when I was studying with my other associates, we noticed that the bones weren't broken, but they'd been chewed through to get the hands, which is strange. But they and the jaw had been, of course, ripped through, but they'd broken the skull to get it where it should have just been able to pop out. And other parts of the body had been gnawed on as well. it's very odd. But the pattern keeps heading south, so I can head you in roughly the right direction. So I guess.
Does Thaddeus have these bodies in his hotel?
No. I had to study them there because, sadly, at night under a tent, with people guarding me to make sure that the families weren't upset. Yes, but we buried them appropriately and everything. So, yes.
Body's chilling in the next room.
Interesting. My character's starting to realize he can use this as a means to an end. To elaborate a lot of witchcraft.
Okay. And I think that's probably a good ending point for this session because you guys roughly know the direction you're going.
Very cool.
Have you guys had fun?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, this has been cool.
Okay. Of course, the game won't necessarily be me like forcing story the whole time, but
We had to get it through. Yeah, it was good though. I liked it. Exposition was fantastic.
okay.
Let us know what you guys thought in the comments.
Let's see if someone's actually in there. Going on technology.
That's why you're marrying me, because I can sing, right?
Wow. Okay. Well, hope everyone enjoyed the session, and see you next week. When next week will be my home session with Emily, Nikki, and Chris, and we'll be continuing from the swamp incident.
Nice.
So,
Swamp is super cool. You do not want to miss it. Trust me.
awesome. Well, see y'all next time.